Ooh, well, guys, I had such a good time making the pizza videos. I've decided to make another one at least. This one is all about mac and cheese. And here, this is my mac and cheese recipe. The one thing that's a little different is that here it says a pound of pasta. Really, I just use 8 ounces of pasta, and I like to use the small shells. Anyway, I like to use 3 cheeses. Here we've got cheddar. Here we have American cheese. And this is American cheese. It's a little bit different than the Kraft singles. It's if you buy the Kraft brand, it's called Kraft Deluxe American cheese. And here we have some pre-grated Parmesan. And it's fine if it's pre-grated. We're putting it in a sauce, so we're not melting it on top of something. So pre-grated should be fine. We have whole milk. We've got butter and flour. That bacon isn't going to come into play. I'm going to cook that later. But we've got a thermometer and some whisks and stuff. And we've got a couple of saucepans up there. So the first thing we're going to do, I'm just going to make sure everything... Okay. All right. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to turn the oven up to 350. It'll take a while. I think I'm going to make the sauce over here in this copper pot, and I'm going to get the water started to boil the pasta in this stainless steel pot. So guys, I know we're in front of the sink. It's always important to make sure your hands are clean before you start cooking. But I mean, I've already washed my hands. So perhaps you'll see me wash them later, I don't know. Here we go. That seems like enough. Cool, cool. Add a little bit of salt in here. That's fine. And get that going. It takes forever to get water to boil. All right, guys. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to start a roux. And I'll just move this over. There it goes. Okay, I'm going to turn it down to medium-low there. Put in about 4 tablespoons of butter. There it goes. I pre-measured most of my stuff because the pizza video had me running around. And yeah, I don't know if I have any good Dijon mustard. Looks like there's some, oh, yeah, I do. Oh, nice. Yeah, we can use it. Well, it's whole grain. No, I think I'll just use the yellow mustard. Okay. Yellow mustard. It's one of them things that's in a lot of mac and cheese preparations. Cool, cool. Turn this up to medium. So, a roux is just equal parts fat and flour. We're going to kind of make a white or a blonde roux. If you're making something like a gumbo, you let it go for a long time and you make like a brick or a chocolate roux. It'd be cool if I could make a video about making gumbo. I spent a lot of time trying to perfect gumbo. And I've got a recipe I'm pretty solid on. I'm pretty decided I've reached the correct level of gumbo-dom. But yeah, mac and cheese, I used to just make it with, you know, whatever, like just cheddar cheese. But now, here we go, we're gonna add, that's 4 tablespoons of butter. Now we're gonna add 4 tablespoons of flour. Over here. There you go. And if you ever have trouble kind of making a roux, you can make it a little fat rich. So if you wanted to add 5 tablespoons of butter instead of 4, add a little more fat than flour, that can work. But yeah, we're just gonna stir this until it kind of relaxes a bit. But we don't want this to get any real color on it. And this is gonna thicken the entire quart of milk here. So I'm gonna open this up. Nice. There we go. And so you can see the roux kind of tightens up like that. You're gonna let it go just a little while longer and it's gonna get loose again. It's gonna be kind of a sandy blonde color. There we go. And we are on just off low heat, just letting it go. All right. Put that water in medium. All right, well. Yeah, no, it's occurred to me that, like, sharing recipes, because it's hard to share recipes. You know, you tell people how to make stuff, and then, you know how to make it, so you don't always think, like, oh, they don't, you know, they don't know how to do this, or they didn't understand that I meant that. But if I make videos, I think it becomes a whole lot easier to share recipes. But of course, then the videos end up being really long, and it's like, oh, will you share your life with me or something? I don't know. Pizza videos came out pretty good, though. Okay, that looks pretty good. This would be a white roux, right? Just means that the flour is kind of cooked beyond being raw. So I'm going to give this a good tablespoon of mustard. And that's going to give it some flavor. But it's also going to help kind of be a coagulant. There we go. We're going to have some extra help with the American cheese, too. Because the cheese contains some phosphates and some citrates. Those are going to help those proteins so that they won't clump up. Phosphate and citrates have these big giant, well, they're just really big kind of chemical ends to salts, and when they attach to proteins, they make it so the protein can't get knotted up on itself. Okay. So I'm going to turn up the heat here, and I like to add milk slowly to a bechamel. This is what we're doing now. And that's just because you're going to get lumps if you add it all in at once. So see how it clumps up like that? Add a little bit more. Stir it up. And little lumps will cook out, and it shouldn't matter too much because we'll probably hit it with a stick blender to get it extra smooth. We're beyond the days of straining. Cool. A little bit more. There we go. Stainless steel really is nice to cook in, but if you've got the bucks, copper does transfer heat considerably faster than stainless steel does. And it's not that you want to blast your food with heat, it's that copper is like invisible to heat. So it's really hot now. Oh, that copper is dropping in temperature. See, I just put it to like low. Copper is dropping in temperature very quickly. Turn it up to high. Now it's speeding up in temperature. It's rising in temperature really quickly. Copper is kind of invisible to the flames. It transfers heat very efficiently. And that's useful when you're making things like custards and sauces. Here we go. Add a little bit more. We're gonna add this whole quart. All right. Very nice. Add the rest. We'll stir it up. There we go. Now, a roux isn't really going to reach its full thickening power until it has come to a boil. One of the problems about letting a bechamel come to a boil is that milk can curdle at those temperatures. So I do have a thermometer here, and so at about 180 degrees Fahrenheit, that's when I'm gonna wanna kinda stop. So I've got it in here, and I'm just gonna keep an eye on it, and we'll come back when we're ready to add the cheese. Okay. All right. Well, here I'm just getting my mount repositioned, and guys, we're just about there. I've turned the heat on to low. We can have it up a little bit. I'm gonna take the thermometer out, and so far, everything looks good. The first cheese I'm going to melt into the bechamel is going to be this American cheese, and there's a reason for that. American cheese contains these wonderful things that make make it so your cream sauces based in dairy, things like that won't break. They've got phosphates and citrates in them. So, if I was making a mac and cheese without these American cheese slices, I'd probably add a little bit of sodium citrate. And a friend of mine was telling me he makes mac and cheese, and I've had his mac and cheese, it's very good, that he just melts cheese and adds sodium citrate to the melted cheese and pours that, so his sauce is pure cheese. And that is a pretty rich sauce, but it turns out nice. Shout out to JP for letting me in on let me in so I can be one in the know. And we're just going to slowly mix this cheese in. Now, once you've got your cheese sauce well fortified, I would probably bring it up to a slight boil. But until we've got the sauce going, I hold off. There we go. Now, cheese is pretty salty, so I also wait to add salt until the very end. Here, sorry. The phone's strapped to my head, so if I'm nodding, you see the pot go up and down. Here we go. Ah, the stove is so hot. But yeah. Cool, cool. If it starts to bubble, you want to kill the heat, or at least kick the heat down quite a bit. You do not want to break this sauce. Once we get all this American cheese in here, it's going to be almost impossible to break the sauce, but almost, not completely impossible. There we go. If you want a really bright orange mac and cheese, you're not going to get that just by melting cheese into a bechamel. You can get that color by adding some turmeric. But I'm just not about that. It's against my religion. I mean, not really, but that's what I tell people. Here we go. Very nice. There we go. Okay. Oh, and this was 8 ounces of American cheese. That came out to be about 9 slices. It was like 9 or 8 slices and a little chunk. So we had 4 tablespoons of butter, 4 tablespoons of flour, a tablespoon of mustard, a quart of milk, and now 8 ounces of American cheese. And American cheese is real cheese. The stuff that you get, the Kraft singles, that technically isn't American cheese. That's a processed cheese product. And it's still good. It's just that legally it's not really considered cheese. Would I use that in mac and cheese? And I guess I would say yeah, but only if I couldn't get a hold of American cheese. American cheese is better. Cool, cool. There we go. Well, it's looking pretty good. Okay. I'm just going to kick it up to medium. And now I think we can add our cheddar. And really, I only require about a cup of cheddar. And then I use cheddar to kind of top it and stuff. So about a cup of cheddar. And so I'm just going to sprinkle this in. There we go. There we go. There we go. You don't want to add too much cheese at once because then it can kind of become this big glob. Same with like the lumps in the flour. You want to slowly add things when you're trying to make a smooth sauce, trying to make it a good emulsion. And in this emulsion, we got water, we got fat, we got proteins. And none of those things want to behave. None of those things want to get together. So you got to take it easy on them. Okay. All right. Well, there we go. Now here we have about 1 cup of grated Parmesan. And this is the sharpest kind of cheese. So I'm gonna get this going in last. It may take this a while to melt. There we go. Turn the temperature down. I'll even turn it off. There we go. Yeah, this is where you can get some of that graininess. So you want your Parmesan to have a little bit of time to melt. There we go. Okay. Ooh. All right. So some of those crystals, that happens in Parmesan cheese. Those aren't crystals that are forming in our sauce. Those are hard crystals that are resisting kind of cohesion in the sauce. So we'll just watch them. And if it's too much, we can hit it with a stick blender. I'm gonna hit it with a stick blender anyway, I think. There we go. Actually, it's looking pretty good. Maybe not. But just after I added the Parmesan, you saw how I killed the heat. That's a good idea. You know, just that's looking good, actually. Okay, I'm gonna take a taste of this. Okay, I didn't have spoons in front of me, so you're gonna hear me walk over here and grab a couple spoons. Okay. There we go. That is very good. There's nothing wrong with that. Okay. So, what else would I put in? I've got a few things that I normally add. A couple of glugs of Frank's Red Hot. That's going to give it kind of an orange color too. That's going to improve it. And that's why I grabbed more than 1 spoon. I'm finishing this sauce. Okay. Smells terrible, but tastes good. White pepper. If you don't like white pepper, can't deal with it, you can use black pepper. In fact, sometimes I use black pepper. Okay. We've got a little bit of garlic powder. Just a sprinkling. A little bit of paprika. There we go. Smells good. And maybe just a touch of onion powder. People that cook knows those are the main 3. If you want something to taste savory, it's garlic powder, onion powder, paprika. So we're gonna stir this up. And I just, you know, take my time with sauces like this. If you've never made sauces, they can be pretty intimidating. But I would highly recommend, if you want to get started on sauces, give yourself some insurance, buy a stick blender. Because broken sauces can be sometimes completely saved with a stick blender. Make sure you have citrus around. Sometimes lemon juice can save them. There we go. That's looking like a good sauce. So I'm going to grab a fresh spoon. There we go. That is good. That needs to mellow out, which it will. But that is the sauce. Okay. Kick this fire up. Bring this up to a boil, and we'll be back when, well, when I'm back. Okay, my guys, we are back. Let me reposition this. And we've got my pot here, and it is boiling. So here, I've got 8 ounces of small shells. You could use 8 ounces of whatever you want, okay? Elbow macaroni, whatever. I like the way these work. I'm gonna dump those in here. And I'm gonna grab this thing, a wooden spoon. I'm just gonna give them a little bit of a stir. Keep that heat on high. I'm gonna stir them for just a moment. They're just off a boil. Put this right here. And there we go. I see bubbles again. I'm gonna hit the timer for 5 minutes. That's all they're gonna need. So I'll be back when we're ready for the next step. Well, guys, the timer just went off. I'm gonna go over here and test to make sure. We want them to be almost there. Ah, mother. Okay. Okay, yeah, these are good. You want them to be not quite done. So here we go. And we are not using the pasta water in this recipe. So away it goes. And yeah. So now comes the time for the building. Move some of this stuff. So we've got, I'll use this ladle. No, it's not big enough. We'll use this guy. Okay. All right. Cool, cool. I've got my amber Pyrex pan that I love so much. And we're gonna do, let's see, still really hot. We're gonna do about half of this. And guys, this stuff has so much fat in it, really greasing the pan. I don't think it's gonna be necessary. We're gonna take about half those guys. Here we go. Cool, cool. And we're going to drop in the cheese sauce. There we go. And part of the reason why we do this is so we can make sure every shell kind of gets full. Sometimes it takes a moment for the cheese sauce to settle. Now, things like the cheeses I use, the hot sauce I use, all that stuff can be changed around. One of my favorite hot sauces is Dawson's Original Hot Sauce. It's a habanero hot sauce, but it's like just hot enough to really make the heat junkies feel good. And like people that can't stand heat, I mean, they're still not gonna like it too much, but they're gonna be able to survive. There we go. All right. Cool, cool. Now we're gonna spread a little more sauce on top of these. There we go. There we go. We want those shells to get submerged. Now, I'm going to sprinkle on a top layer of cheddar, the extra cheddar. And if you want to do different cheeses, like I've got some Port Salut in the refrigerator, and I almost switched it out, but I wanted to give you guys my standard recipe. When people ask for my recipe, this is what I give them. Cool. All right, now it looks like we've got some extra sauce, but really all the sauce belongs in the mac and cheese. I never leave any out. So I just go over nice and evenly. So our pasta is not completely done. The pasta is going to thicken this sauce. And I like to have more of a saucy mac and cheese. There we go. There we go. And, you know, you can scoop that saucepan clean with chips or crackers or cookies or whatever if you want to. Okay, I've got some Kellogg's Corn Flakes that I crushed up. This is my my particular favorite topping. You can, of course, use breadcrumbs that you fried with garlic and all that bullshit. But I think the sweetness kind of adds something to the mac and cheese. So I go with just crunched up Kellogg's Corn Flakes. How did I crunch them up? My hands. So it's no secret. Didn't add any spices. I added the spices I wanted in there to the cheese sauce. You know, that's the main thing. That's the body of the dish, is the cheese sauce. But that looks quite nice. Yeah. So, now what do you do? So, we've preheated the oven. The oven is at temperature. It's at 350. So, we're going to put that in for 30 minutes. But just ceremonially, because I do keep on telling everyone you need to have clean hands. I'm going to wash my hands. Okay. So, Dawn, it's good enough for them baby ducks. I'm a baby duck. So I'm going to be just fine. Here we go. And it's good at degreasing. So it's good to get your hands, but then also halfway up your forearm, because you know how you live. You're a pig. You know, you've got to clean yourself. So that's what I like to do. And I find myself cleaning my hands quite often. I know some people, you know, wash their hands at specific points in their day. Sometimes I just feel like washing my hands. You know. But it is good to be a proponent of hand washing. All right. Oof. Dry your hands on a clean towel. All that is good. Okay. So, the masterpiece goes into the oven. And I'm going to set the timer for 30 minutes. And that should be good. And guys, I'll meet you out here when it's ready. There we are. Okay, guys, so the beeper just went off. Hopefully, it looks pretty darn good in there, but you'll witness it with me. Get a couple of pot holders here. Here we go. There. And that looks pretty darn good. Here we go. Now there we go. You can kill the heat here. And we can gaze at our masterpiece. So this thing, guys, probably needs to rest for 15 to 20 minutes. It is lethal right now. It is napalm. So, yeah. Now, you can see it kind of bubbled up over the cornflake crumbs. We could have added more cornflake crumbs so that wouldn't have happened like that. But, you know, whatever. I can live with that. So I'll come back and we'll scoop out some when it's ready. So, yeah, it's looking pretty good. Okay. Well, guys, it's been about 20 minutes. I'm going to go over here with a serving spoon and a bread and butter plate. And we'll see how well this all came out. There. All right. So it's right here. And we can take a good look at it. That is exactly what I'm going for. Here. Whoop. I'll take a taste even. Yeah, that is good. Well, all right. This has been the mac and cheese. And if you're brave enough to try it, I hope you meet with just as much success as I have this morning. Anyway, that'll be it. I'll talk to you later.